Hello, fellow travelers, and welcome to another episode of Scribe Speaks. Today, we are talking about the unfortunate resurfacing of allegations against Andrew Callaghan of Channel 5 Action News, formerly All Gas, No Breaks here on YouTube. He has seen some recent success gaining an HBO original, which he is the host of. He is a talented man. He really is. He goes out and does on the street interviews. He is a proponent of the philosophy of radical listening, which makes for excellent interviewing content. However, there have been some recent resurfacing of allegations of sexual misconduct, SA, that I think we need to look at a little bit further. Now that the story is broken, and which, by the way, from what I've seen, shout out to Destiny for being the first one to really talk about this. I saw that most news media did not talk about these allegations until at best 2 days ago. Most people were talking about it yesterday. Your boy wanted to wait and see what everyone had to say before he made a statement on his channel. So that's what we're doing today. We're going to dive into it. Now, if you haven't seen the allegations so far, there's primarily two women that have made allegations against Andrew involving coercion, sexual assault, and battery, and other various inappropriate misconduct. What I wanted to say before we get into this is that something that is concerning to me is seeing how quickly the community has turned against Andrew. Not saying he's innocent. This is not a defense of Andrew video. This is literally just talking about the issue itself. And right now, where it stands is there is no evidence. It's unfortunate, and that's something that every victim hates to hear. And I'm not trying to downplay that or increase anyone's suffering. I don't want to add to any trauma that anyone's going through because of this situation. But I think that when we're in situations like this, when the allegations are serious, we need to raise our level of criticism, not because we hate the victims or we don't believe them, but because these are some of the most heinous accusations you can make against another individual. And from what I've seen, the court of public opinion has already decided that Andrew is guilty. The reason why I'm making this video actually is because I saw a stream from Bo Blacks yesterday where Bo Blacks didn't know who Andrew Callaghan was. And I love Bo Blacks. I watch his stuff. I watch it all the time. Very informative, very well put together. And I think the main reason why this live stream didn't land so well with me is because it was a live stream. I think that if Bo Blacks had prepared something a little bit more thorough, if he wasn't just reacting live as he found out the information, I think then some of these problems would have been mitigated. But in the stream, Bo Blacks starts it by saying he doesn't know who Andrew Callaghan is, has never seen any of his stuff, has never seen Channel 5. He qualifies it for around 5 to 10 minutes about how he doesn't know anything about Andrew Callaghan. And then we get into reading the allegations live on stream. And honestly, again, very informative, but I noticed that there was this tone. There was already this decision that he was guilty. The chat was livid. Bo Blacks ran a poll in the chat asking his chat, Andrew Callaghan guilty? And 75% of those who voted yes. Now, whatever you want to think about this situation in particular, whether you are in defense of Andrew or whether you completely agree with the alleged victims, that is a horrible precedent to set. And I'm kind of disappointed in Bo Blacks. He talks about his ethical responsibilities. He's had stuff like this done to him prior, not to this level, not this extreme, but people have lied about him and run with allegations about him. And I think, like I said, it was because it was in a live stream format. But I mean, at one point, he's saying that this guy just wants to rap so bad. The van is pulling up to your town. Watch out. And he's making jokes about this, which, again, I'm aware of Bo Blacks' social shortcomings. But he was also doing things like making fun of his appearance. And now he said he was, and he framed it like he wasn't. He said, oh, I'm not one to talk about someone's appearance. Right as he was talking about Andrew's appearance. And he goes and finds an unflattering picture, and he shares the picture, and he's like, imagine this guy following you alone at night in a dark alleyway. And it's just when you frame a situation like that before any proof of any of these allegations has come out, you already make it look like he's guilty. Unfortunately, accusations and allegations do not equate to evidence. Anyone can make any allegations, anyone can make any accusations that they want, and what? We're supposed to just believe it? And again, this is not an in defense of Andrew Callaghan video. I don't know about the situation. The story is 2, maybe 3 days old. The where it stands, the most damning evidence is that Ethan Klein went on live stream and just said that Andrew said, he said, she said, that he admitted to everything. But he didn't show any specifics. There was no recordings. There were no screenshots. There were no DMs. This is Ethan Klein's word against Andrew's reputation. And I think that is shocking. That is shocking from somebody like Boblax. Yeah, I saw Brandon Buckingham covered it, and I think Brandon Buckingham did a pretty good job covering it because, again, he lays out the accusations. And, again, I think that the tendency in these situations is to lean on the side of the accuser, lead on the side of the victim, especially when they're as convincing as these young girls were. Personally, I'm just going to go ahead and say that there's no proof. The allegations are what they are. They're just allegations as of now. However, with the lack of response from Andrew's side, with the sincerity and the conviction that these young women are saying these things with, I believe something took place between them. Now, is this something, a miscommunication? Is it as extreme as they would have you believe? I don't know. Again, I wasn't there, and there is no hard evidence as far as I know. Without him having his day in court, without him having his chance to defend himself, and that's the other side of it. When you live in America, like Andrew does, and where these crimes supposedly took place, there's a process. The truth is not determined by consensus. And again, this is not hating on these victims. I think that if he's guilty of these things, he needs to have the book thrown at him. I think he needs to be deplatformed as soon as possible. I think he needs to have, there needs to be reparations paid to these women. However, it needs to be proven in a court of law. And if you're not gonna produce evidence, if you're not gonna show anything that's explicitly damning, with the nature of these allegations, I find it very hard to believe that with all these parties, with all these people, with us living in the modern age and everything being on the internet, why, if Andrew Callaghan is so sexually domineering, if he is so inappropriate, and this is such a frequent behavior of his, then why are there not any clips, any videos at all of him being even a little handsy at any one of these events? Guy walks around with a camera crew and a microphone. He records his own behavior. People have cell phones in their pockets 24/7, 365. The quality, the abundance of this technology. I think the other half of this is really very concerning. One of these young ladies, one of the accusers here, also released DMs that she received from anonymous individuals. This is a hard situation to be in. When we're talking about crimes of this nature, we're talking about trauma. We're talking about years of dealing with this, working through this. People don't always know how to respond. And I'm fully aware of that. And I agree and I understand. Not everybody knows how to respond whenever they've been assaulted. Not everybody knows how to respond when they've been assaulted by a famous person or a semi-famous person or even just someone that they like or care about. However, it seems to me if this pattern is so severe and it reaches the level that it reaches, from what I've read of the allegations, these were not extended relationships. I think at most, if I remember correctly, the longest one of these girls had been interacting with Andrew was a little over a year, maybe 2. So again, not an excessively long time to know someone, especially when they travel around as much as Andrew does. If he was just so gung-ho and so ready, and these were his intentions from the moment he saw them, because that's how it is for most predators. They know what they want and they go for it. Then why are there not anything, a TikTok from a bar where he's being a little inappropriate? Even circumstantial evidence would be good, but right now, all there is accusations. The most severe allegations allege that he has involved minors. When the accusations get to this point, we really have to put on our skepticism glasses. And I hate to do it. If this is true, If these victims are victims, if he did all of these things to them, which I think is inconclusive. I haven't decided to jump 2 feet into the deep end right now. I don't know why he's got no social play right now with most of the people online. I don't understand. Maybe it's the climate. People's immediate reaction to accusations like this is just as severe as the accusations for the most part. If Andrew is the type of person that these women have described, he will not be able to help. That's the biggest thing. He will be caught. There will be evidence for it. And I'm not saying that he needs to assault another woman before he is held accountable. What I'm saying is that there should be something substantial, and right now there just isn't. I can't take just straight up accusations as evidence. Even the text messages that these women have produced have shown that it is a mutual interaction, that they were friendly with each other, that they were voluntarily engaging with him. And again, that doesn't mean he didn't assault them. All that they have shown is that things were good until they weren't. And they didn't show the part where it changed. They didn't show any DMs of Andrew being inappropriate. They didn't show him being demanding or coercive. It's a shame to see so many people jump on this story. I don't know if it's because it's trending and people are putting their 2 cents in. I know it's a lot of commentary channels that are doing it. I get it. That's the job. We have to be better than this. We cannot do this to people. As a society, as a community, we cannot jump off the deep end every time an allegation is made. And you would think that YouTubers would have learned this by now. I personally don't trust Ethan Klein's statement. I don't care what your opinion is. I watch H3H3 stuff. I don't have this massive complex against H3H3. I know a lot of people dislike him. He's very controversial in his own way. I just don't trust this allegation. I think that he broke his part of the story, and what he said was Andrew admitted to having encounters with these girls, that he admitted to being with them and at most having sex with them. The way that H3H3 framed this situation was like he had the inside scoop on the Andrew Callaghan situation, and Andrew admitted to everything without being explicit. He didn't go into details. There was nothing damning. That bothers me. I need to know that if we're going to condemn this guy, if we're going to do it, then we're going to throw the book at him. I mean, I'm talking about full on, take him down, take his whole platform down, take his money for reparations for these poor women. We need to raise awareness about these types of situations 1,000%. But if this isn't true, what type of damage are we doing to this man's reputation? If this isn't true, if this is a miscommunication or a misunderstanding, if these girls are misremembering, from both of their accounts, they were incredibly drunk, and both of them say that they were more drunk than Andrew. And that right there is probably where he messed up the worst. You do not have sex with people that are intoxicated. It changes the dynamic. It does. And according to these allegations, both of these young girls were incredibly drunk during their interactions with Andrew. You can't do that. These allegations say that Andrew has a skewed memory of these events, that Andrew presents a sanitized version of what happened, and then they go on to say about how drunk they were. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry to do this, and I hate to be the guy picking the holes in the victim's narrative, but you can't have it both ways. You can't be so drunk that you're nearly blackout, on the edge, on the cusp of consciousness, but you can remember everything that went down perfectly. Everything that went down was alleged. They remember explicitly. My problem is with this, from the legal standpoint alone, just from what the court is going to ask. These women invited this man into their home, into their personal space. One of them, I believe, had voluntary sexual relations with him. She was intoxicated, but she agreed to meet him, and they had expressed interest in him. I'm not saying that's right, and I'm not saying that's okay, but I'm saying when you look at it from the court's perspective, you have to prove it. And I'm sorry, but if this goes to court and he's proven innocent, but the majority of people believe that he's guilty, does that mean he should deserve to have his platform removed? I don't think so. And again, this isn't about defending predatory behavior or sexual assaulters or people guilty of sexual misconduct. I think anybody that is proven guilty beyond a shadow of a doubt needs to have penalties. I firmly believe that. But we are 2 days, 3 days at most into these allegations resurfacing, because these are old allegations, some of these. They're resurfacing now, and people have already decided that he's guilty without any kind of investigation. It's very concerning. Last thing I wanted to say about this issue. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to everyone involved. I'm sorry, first and foremost, to these young women. I'm sorry to Andrew. I'm sorry to the community for having to see this, because there are a lot of people who are big fans. This guy, you know, and I've been seeing this. They're just like, people are saying, who is this guy? I've never heard of this guy. I don't know this guy. He must not be internet famous. And it's just, is that where our head is at? When young girls come out and accuse somebody of sexual assault allegations, is you know, oh, well, who is this guy? I never even knew who this guy was. That's the case for the majority of cases. This is a high-profile thing, and that's why we should be even more skeptical of it. This is a high-profile case. It doesn't matter if you personally don't know him. The guy has million-dollar deals with mainstream media. The guy travels the world, and if it is true, if he is a predator, then that means his victim count is probably much higher than we even know. And honestly, I genuinely believe this. If there are more victims, they should come out. If there are more allegations to be made, they should be put on the table. And I'm sorry, but the 5 to 10 women that came out, I read in the allegations how there were multiple women who were underage, but then they also wanted to remain anonymous. I'm sorry, you can't have your cake and eat it too. If you're going to try and prove someone is guilty of sexual assault, you have to have at least a little bit of courage. You have to stand up and you have to put your face and your name to these allegations. You cannot just make anonymous accusations of child sexual assault. That is so severe. We're going to take someone's anonymous word against him. Just decide that he's guilty. I don't know. It seems like a horrendous situation all the way around. I think everyone involved is probably going to be much worse off at the end of this thing. I don't think anything is going to be better. What I think will happen out of this is that if it goes anywhere, it goes to court. If he's found guilty, his career is ruined. But it doesn't change what he did to these girls. It doesn't stop. He gets out 10, 15 years. I mean, what are we talking about? We're giving him the maximum sentence, and he's out in a few years. It doesn't change anything, especially if these allegations are true. If any of them hold any water, and he is as voracious and as insatiable as these women will have us believe, it won't stop here. It won't stop with prison. He will come out and he will continue that behavior. And on the flip side of that coin, if it turns out that he's innocent, if it turns out that he didn't do these things, legally speaking, because none of us were there. Only these girls and him were there. And he's admitted to that. I know that. He was there, but he didn't admit to any conduct. As far as I know, he hasn't spoken about it publicly at all. Before that happens, I'm not willing to make a decision until I see him come on and give his side. I'm not willing to make a decision about what I believe one way or the other, whether he's innocent or guilty. Once he responds, I will know for myself. Once I see what he has to say about it, I'll know for myself. But right now, I mean, what is this? This is a bunch of YouTube drama, and the only people covering it are tabloid media and YouTube commentary. And I love YouTube commentary. This is not a shot at them. I love the commentary community. That is where we're at. Allegations and accusations being held as gospel. They're being touted as he's guilty already. This is horrible. Like I said, best case scenario, he's found guilty, we punish him. These girls have to live with the trauma for the rest of their lives. He's out in a few years. And again, if it's completely true, if everything they're saying is true, he'll do it again. But if it's not, if he's innocent, his reputation is forever tarnished. These victims do not get healing. If he's found innocent, everyone's life is worse. If he's found guilty, everyone's life is worse. People want to talk about justice. The same people that have already decided that he's guilty. Before this has gone to court, before the evidence has been examined, nothing gets better. They make a little bit of money at it though, because it does make for a good video. I'm not saying he's innocent. This is not me waving one flag or the other. I'm asking the question here. And I want to reflect back on people like Bo Blacks, people who I like, who I respect, who inspired me to make content. This was a shame. This was shameful to come out on the heels of these accusations and call the man a without any proof. Can't stand that. I can't stand that I saw that yesterday. Bo Blacks insulting the man's appearance, calling him a 30 minutes after learning who he was. Bo Blacks knew who Andrew Callaghan was for 30 minutes and already decided that he was guilty. Had never heard of him before this situation, hadn't looked into it past the allegations being made, hasn't seen any evidence, takes Ethan Klein at his word, and just automatically assumes. And he says that he won't, but look at the live stream. He straight up calls Andrew a rapist. This is awful. This is a horrendous standard to set. And like I said, in defense of Bo Blacks, I think it's because it was a live format. I think if he sat down and scripted out a video, I think it might have turned out a little bit more neutral. These allegations are convincing from these girls, but there's things that I just don't understand. I know that the nature of this crime is so severe. The way that people cope, the way that people react is not always how you would expect or what is the best. But coming out with accusations years later is not the way to have it solved. I'm sorry. Finding your courage years later, making your accusations from anonymity, I'm trying to help future women. If something happens to you, say something. I know it's hard. I know you trusted him. I know you didn't want it to go the way that it went. I don't know, guys. Let me know what you think in the comment section. I'm sorry that this one is so serious. I just don't like it. I don't like the situation. I don't like the response from the community. Not anything against these women, and this is not in defense of Andrew Callaghan. But I think that we should be a little bit more careful, especially because the nature of these allegations are so serious. He's not going to be able to hide it. If it's true, if any of it's true, he will not be able to hide it. Point blank, period. It will come out. He will be penalized. But if it isn't, he's already been punished. Channels with hundreds of thousands of subscribers, cumulatively millions of subscribers together, channels who have gotten hundreds of thousands of views since 2 days ago, they've already decided that he's guilty. And I think that's where we should probably end it. Thank you guys for watching. I need you to like, share, and subscribe if you like the video. Please comment. Appreciate you guys for watching. Again, sorry that this one was so severe. Please comment on this. I want to see your opinion. I want to hear it. I want to hear what you have to say about it. If you know anything similar, if anything similar has happened in your life, on whatever side that it lands on, whether they were guilty or innocent, I want to know. I want to know your take, and how do you think that we should take accusations like this? So again, guys, thank you for watching. Safe travels.
So crazy, like the different versions of events that people give when they know they're guilty. Just they kind of try to give the truth, but omit a lot of information and try to imply stuff that didn't happen without outright lying, just like an implication to a lie, It's fucking nutty.